It pains me to say that I have developed a new addiction and my life will never be the same again because I cannot stop making banana bread. Like, at first I was just doing it to get rid of the ripe bananas that we had, but now I'm actually searching for banana bread recipes. And there's a lot out there, but I just never thought I would want to make banana bread this much and this often. But I like banana bread, I really do. And so today, we're going to be making a coffee cake banana bread. So it's gonna be a banana bread with a crumb on top, which is going to be so amazing because it's like coffee cake crumb and it's super sugary and buttery and it's got that cinnamon flavor and I love cinnamon. So I'm super excited to make this, so let's get started. So today while I was gathering all of my ingredients, I thought, I wonder if I could make this completely by hand because normally I use a stand mixer or a hand mixer for everything I make, but I wanted to see if it would be easy enough to make by hand because I did not want to wash the stand mixer. So I am going to be using a spatula and a fork to make this banana bread today. The first thing I'm going to do is mix my butter and my sugar. So I have half a cup of soft salted butter. Get that all out. It is not coming out all the way. And then I have 1 cup of granulated sugar, and I am just going to beat that all together. I guess I can't really beat it together since I'm using a spatula, but I am just going to stir it until it's all combined and it looks like wet sand. And then I'm gonna add in 2 large eggs, and I'm gonna mix those in. And now that my eggs are fully mixed in, I'm gonna set that aside and I'm going to whisk together my dry ingredients. So I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I am just going to give these a quick stir. And then I'm going to add my dry ingredients to my butter mixture. So I'm just gonna start with half and I'm gonna mix that in, and then I'm gonna add in the rest of it. Stir, stir, stir. Now I'm gonna add in the rest of the flour. This is going to be a lot of work, I can already tell. I don't know why I'm doing this to myself. I think I like a good challenge, so this will be very challenging, and maybe that's why I chose to do it this way. And once you've mixed in all of your flour, it's going to be very thick, like a cookie dough, because we have the starting ingredients to a cookie dough. But we're not gonna stop there because we're making banana bread. So next I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of sour cream. It sounds very weird and it sounds gross, but it's going to make it super moist, and I promise you won't even taste it. Ew, it got on my hand. I don't like sour cream. I would not be putting it in here if I could taste it because I don't like sour cream. I don't even like the smell of it. And once you mix in the sour cream, we're gonna set this bowl aside and mash up the bananas. So I have 4 medium bananas. These are very ripe bananas. You want your bananas to be ripe so that they're sweeter and then they're softer and they just make the banana bread so moist. And yeah, normally I don't like ripe bananas, but they're good in banana bread, so make sure that you use ripe bananas. Your bananas don't have to be this brown, but you at least want them to be ripe because you can't make this with green bananas. That would be not good. And remember, when they're riper, they're sweeter, so the more ripe your bananas are, the better your banana bread will taste. Well, in my opinion, at least, it's better when they're extremely ripe. But if you don't like extremely sweet things, you might not like it as much, but I never seem to find that the bananas are too sweet because the bananas are a different type of sweetness than just straight up sugar. They taste so good. They make it taste so good. And I'm just using a fork to mash up my bananas, but you can use a whisk or you can use a pastry grinder or just whatever you have on hand. Pastry blender, I think that's what it's called. Okay, my bananas are nice and mashed up, and they don't have to be like liquidy mashed up. There can still be small pieces. So after you mash up your bananas, then you're gonna add 4 tablespoons of, 2, sorry. Then after you mash up your bananas, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of light brown sugar and 3/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. And I'm also gonna add 1.5 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. And I'm going to mix that all together. Normally, I don't make banana bread with brown sugar, but since this is a coffee cake banana bread, you want the molasses from the brown sugar to make it extra rich. And now I'm gonna add my mashed bananas to my cookie dough-ish banana bread. And now I'm just going to combine everything. And once that's all stirred together, the batter is done, and now we're going to make the crumb topping. So for the crumb topping, I have 1.5 cups of flour and 1.5 cups of brown sugar, that's light brown sugar, and 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. The crumb topping is my favorite part of this. It's going to be so good. Okay, I just realized that I'm using a pastry grinder to combine these. You're just supposed to stir all that together, but I don't know why I'm using a pastry grinder. So today I discovered that using a pastry grinder to stir things together is not a good idea because it doesn't actually work very well. Everything is still stuck at the bottom and I can't pull it up because this thing has holes everywhere, you know? So I'm just going to use a spoon to stir all that together. And once that's all combined, then you're gonna add in 9 tablespoons of salted butter. And I've cut mine into little pieces so that it's easier to mix into my flour. And now I'm going to use my pastry cutter to cut the butter into the flour mixture. This thing is very helpful because it cuts it up into little pieces and it makes it easier to combine. And if things get a little difficult with the pastry cutter, you can go ahead and go on in with your hands. And I have clean hands, by the way, so don't worry about that. But I'm just going, the oven is beeping while I am talking. I am just going to press the butter into the flour using my hands because it's kind of hard with a pastry cutter. It's just hard. It's not actually hard, but it's just hard, you know? All right, I finished making my crumb topping and now it's time to bake this banana bread. I just got this new beautiful porcelain loaf pan and I am so excited to use it because I've never had a loaf pan before, and which is surprising because I do bake a lot, but this will be my first time baking with a loaf pan. It's going to look so pretty. So you can make this in a loaf pan or you can make this in a cake pan. Just use whatever pan you have. Okay, I filled my loaf pan about 2/3 full with batter. You want it to be very full if you're making it in a loaf pan because then it's gonna rise up and it's gonna be very tall and it's going to look so beautiful. But if you're using a cake pan, you don't wanna put too much batter in there because then it always gets brown on the edges before it's done in the middle. So that one, it's gonna be less than halfway full. And now I am going to, now I'm going to cover it with crumb topping. Make sure you use lots and lots of crumb topping because this is really good. The crumb topping is my favorite part. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a handful of this crumb topping and sprinkle it on top. And yes, I have clean hands before you ask me that. You wanna always have clean hands when you're baking. And now I'm ready to bake this. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm gonna bake this for about 35 minutes or until a toothpick comes out with moist crumbs, but no wet batter. But if you're making this in a cake pan, then it's gonna take a lot less time. It's usually gonna take about 20 minutes and you'll test it the same way. I'm so excited for this, it's gonna be so good. Okay, I'm back. My banana bread is fully baked and it looks so delicious and it smells so good too. Like I can smell the banana, it's coming up at me. My cake pan took about the time that I thought it would, which is 20 minutes, but my loaf pan took like 45 minutes for it to fully bake all the way through, so it took a long time. I'm very excited to try this bread because I've never had a loaf pan before, but my mom just got this for me because she's the best mom ever. And it's an it's an Emily Henry porcelain loaf pan, and it's so pretty, and I'm so excited to see how this turned out. I'm gonna use this metal spatula type thing and kind of loosen the edges a little, so hopefully it'll come out very clean. When I baked it, the crumb topping turned a beautiful golden brown color, and it just looks so pretty. Okay. Gonna see if I can get it out now. Oh no, the crumb topping is falling off. Come out, come out. Oh, I feel it, it's loose. Wow. Wow. This looks so beautiful. I cannot believe I did not get a loaf pan sooner. Wow. Come here, Andrew. Wait, you have to duck down, okay.
Okay.
Andrew has to duck down to be in my video because he's so tall and I'm so extremely short.
Yeah.
If I just raise this just a little bit.
No.
All right, just duck down there.
Well, yeah, his head's being cut off right now because he's very, very tall and I'm very, very short. He's not actually that tall, Andrew. How tall are you?
I'm like 5'10".
5'10".
In a quarter.
Okay. Andrew here fixed my lighting today in the middle of filming this banana bread video. So there's going to be a drastic change in the lighting and hopefully a good one because he's got a degree in that stuff. So he's very good at it. Thanks, Andrew.
You're welcome.
I
Okay.
think he's not just around for things. He might be around for a piece of banana.
I will. This looks so good. I cannot handle smelling this any longer without getting a piece. I am going to cut it. Look at all that crumb topping. Can you see it? That is a thick layer of crumb topping. It's gonna be really good. I love crumb topping so much. It's so crispy and cinnamony and sweet. That's good crumb topping. Okay, now try the actual banana bread. That was like all crumb topping. This is like one of my favorite banana breads ever. It's so good. Oh my gosh. This banana bread is so good. The crumb topping is amazing. And like, there's cinnamon in the banana bread too, so it's really good. Andrew, would you like a piece?
Sure.
A plate, Andrew? Not your hands.
She's really good at it.
Thank you. Andrew approves of the banana bread, so that means it's good. At first when I tried it, I didn't really like the cinnamon in the banana bread with the cinnamon in the coffee crumb topping.
No, it's just the right amount.
Yeah, it's really, really good. This is a delicious banana bread recipe, but unfortunately it's not my own, so you can check out where I got this recipe in the description box below, along with a list of all the ingredients in US and metric. Thank you so much for baking with me today. Let me know if you ever make coffee cake banana bread, and I'll see you next time on You're Stirring It Wrong. I know I'm going to be editing it because nobody else edits my videos, just little old me. I think it's funny because like when I did theater, there were so many kids. When I did theater and I collected bios, there were so many kids that said they wanted to be a YouTuber, and I never thought of that as a real job, but here I am, a baker on YouTube.